Broadway news that you want to know on The Salisha Show. Starring you and your favorite roles on The Salisha Show. Staying true, going with the flow on The Salisha Show. So come on through, everybody glows on The Salisha Show.
What is up? Hello, I am Salisha Thomas Weiss, your host, and I am so shook. I just saw the person who we have on today, who I will be interviewing today. I saw her on stage recently, but I've seen her on stage a few times. But the most recent one, I don't think I connected the dots of all the other shows that she's been in that I've seen. When I tell you, this person does not just go on stage and sing a big note and walk off. She performs from her hoo-ha. She shares her soul. She bears her soul with all these people who she don't know. And it comes from such a special place that every time I've seen her, I am left in chills. Let me give you a little bit. I can't give you the full rundown because she's done too much. When I tell you she's done too much, I mean her resume is missing Broadway credits because there's not enough space for it. Okay. All right. Okay. So she toured with, we'll start with that. Well, she toured with Waitress and Hairspray. She's done 9 Broadway shows. 9, like she's starring in most of these shows, okay? 9 Broadway shows. We got Waitress, Book of Mormon, Violet, Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, Caroline or Change, Suffs, Hair, Tarzan. Am I missing one? Oh, currently starring in Boop, which she is phenomenal, and also not for nothing, and I'm not just saying that because I'm doing this interview right now, it is my new favorite Broadway show. I know those are big words because there's some big shows in the category this season, but it is so incredible. Why was I sobbing? Why was I sobbing over this cartoon character show? It is great. Okay, let's see some other things before I bring her on the stage. She's performed at every major regional theater, every major theater in New York City, including but not limited to Carnegie Hall, Kennedy Center, that's in DC, Radio City, Madison Square Garden, Yankee Stadium, MetLife. She's also starred on the West End in London. What on earth? Of course, she's been at Paper Mill and the Muni. She was in the world premiere of Secret Life of Bees. She's been on TV, Sex and the City 2 movie. My goodness, Madam Secretary, New Amsterdam. She also is a choreographer. Like, she's not just an actor and a singer. She's not just gonna sing down. She'd be choreographing stuff as well in a new musical called Mighty Real, which I think is coming. And oh yes, of course, every daytime and late night talk show. What am I missing? What am I missing? Oh, I'm missing a lot of things. I'm missing so many things. Why don't we just bring her on? Y'all, please put your hands together and help me welcome Anastacia McCleskey.
Thank you for having me.
What on earth? What? First of all, thank you for coming on.
Of course.
Thank you for making time for this because I know you're busy. You literally have your show in tonight. When did you get your first Broadway show?
Well, my first, I guess, like Broadway contract was the first national tour of Hairspray. I had just graduated from the American Musical and Dramatics Academy. The year was 2004, and I was fortunate enough and grateful to graduate with the job. So I joined that tour as a swing for about 6 months, and then I took over for the Shayna Steele track, which was one of the original Dynamites on Broadway. For the rest of the tour for the next like year and a half. So that was like my first show.
Did you swing other shows?
No, that was the only time I've swung, and it was like right out the gate. I was 19, turning 20, and it was one of the best experiences of my life. I talk about that all the time when I teach.
Okay, wait, hold on. Okay, she's also a teacher. Did we hear that? She's an educator. But what I just heard you say was I swung one time when I first got out of college, and then I took over the role, and then I took over every role after that.
You're hilarious.
I mean, where's the lie? Where is the lie? So wait, did that transfer? Did you go to the Broadway company for that one, or that was just a production?
No, I stayed on the tour, and then straight from the tour, I made my Broadway debut in Tarzan.
Oh my goodness! How many years has your career spanned? It started in 2004?
2004.
With
I was doing stuff like, I'm originally from Nashville, Tennessee, so I was doing local theater down there, making, you know, a tenth of a check as a child does in her small town. But I'd like to say I was doing professional work then because I did a lot of session work for writers. Nashville's Music City, USA. So you have country music, gospel music, Christian music, and I did a lot of studio session work for a lot of writers. So I guess my professional career kind of started then when I was a teenager.
When I was 5. I that you sang with Patti LaBelle, Mariah Carey. This is not casual. There's nothing. This just isn't casual. Were you scared to move to New York when you first did?
No. I knew I wanted to move to New York. I had gotten a full scholarship to Berklee School of Music in Boston, and I turned that down to go to AMDA because I wanted to move to New York and be on Broadway. And I had to like pitch it to my parents to let me move to New York.
And at the time, what did they say? Because obviously in hindsight, they're like, she's gonna be fine. But at the time, were they scared?
I think they were, but they didn't really show it. It was like a 3-day pitch, especially to my father. I'm the only girl. I'm the youngest. And so to move to this big, tiny city, but this big city was going to be a big thing. And that my mother chatted with him. They had a chat and they were like, all right, bet you can go to this school.
Not a 3-day pitch.
I vaguely remember sitting in our living room and I had written out the why, the what I could do if I moved there. You know, I'm this, I'm that. You know, it was wild.
So my question as a performer for you is, was there ever, okay, first of all, I mean, it's very possible that you've just always been great since you took the stage. But do you ever remember a switch in like a connection that you felt to yourself, or just like, do you ever remember a time of growth from when you used to go on stage and sing versus you go on stage and affect people, or just have you always just affected? Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I'm in the audience, I'm covered in goosebumps watching you. And stuff specifically. And
Thank you. Wow, thank you. You know what? There was a switch in my mid-30s. And I know that like I had a full career by that point. And I wasn't just going on stage and performing. Previous to that, you know, there was some spiritual work in there for me. But I left the city. I moved away in March of 2022. And I said, I booked a job at the Fifth Avenue Theater, a new musical called Afterwards. And I said, I need to leave New York for a while. It was after the pandemic. The city felt still very sad and healing from everything that the pandemic put us all through. And I said, I need to change. I want to travel. I want to rest. And going on that journey, working at a lot of amazing regional houses, meeting a lot of people that I've always wanted to work with, that was the shift. And it reminded me of that 16-year-old, 15-year-old girl that I was that said, I want to be a storyteller. And so I kind of got back to the reason why I wanted to be on stage. It wasn't about money. It wasn't about fame. It wasn't about accolades. It was about healing people, bringing joy, and telling these stories. And so I made a pact with myself. I said, I want to do work that's healing. So if anything comes across my desk that's not healing, I don't want to be attached to it. And so Suffs actually brought me back to New York. I just moved back to New York in March of last year to do Suffs. And when I tell you that thing cracked me open, it cracked me open. And also to like tell those women's story, to be a part of their legacy, to carry on the torch in that way was such a blessing and such a gift. And it's something that I will forever be grateful for, that Shayna allowed herself to be the vessel that story came through for all of us.
I grew up loving me some Nikki M. James, and
Yes,
incredible in that. But I also got to see Huso go on.
yes. Oh gosh, yes.
Oh,
amazing.
God. She's one of my best friends. And
I love it. She's an amazing woman and super talented. My God,
and gorgeous
Mhm.
and just incredible. So, you were there on election night.
Yes.
So was I.
Oh wow. Whew. Baby.
Whew.
Whew. Yeah.
What was the backstage? What was happening backstage? Because it was a rock performance in the house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know, I think this was that night. I'm gonna say it was that night. I was talking to Nikki earlier, and I was like, we need chicken, because we need something that is gonna make us feel at home, because we didn't know which way it was gonna go. We knew it was gonna be a tight race. So a lot of us were eating chicken backstage. There was a lot of excitement. The audience, I remember the audience being amazing, and having the audience as your last castmate to vibe with, to do that show that night. It was phenomenal. And we were all watching, you know, iPads were on, phones were on, laptops were open. We were seeing how close certain states were.
Don't make me sweat right now.
And then our producers threw us a little gathering at a restaurant where they had a big TV set up, and we were watching. And so, you know, we all kind of knew what it was going to be when we went to bed, but to come in the next day to do 2 shows, that was thank God for those audiences, because it was like we were all living through that together and processing through it together. I can say that I was numb. Because the hope, I think being a part of Suffs, telling those ladies' stories, and the hope that we had all galvanized for ourselves, it just dwindled away over in like that. So I was numb during those 2 shows, but that audience really fed us what we needed.
I mean, it's the message of the show.
Mm-hmm.
It feels, the show is perfect for if things go your way,
Mm-hmm.
and if things don't go your way.
Yeah.
That is like one of the things that makes it timeless. When it doesn't go your way, you have to keep marching, and it's hard, and it sucks, and it did suck. Like,
yeah,
it was really, really hard.
Yeah.
Like, listening to, we may never see the future that we fight for.
Yeah. I mean, those lyrics, my God.
Come on, Shayna. Oh my gosh.
But you're right. I mean, and those women, they never saw that. I think about Mary and Ida all the time. They never saw that. They never got to vote.
We do.
We do. And so to carry that torch on, and I think about right now and for future generations, they're going to reap the benefits of the things and the seeds that we're sowing right now. They will reap the harvest, even if we don't. And I'm okay with that.
Just knowing that it's coming, it does give hope.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Oh, okay. So back to your Broadway. We have to talk about Boop before we still have some time. But
Yeah.
we have to talk about, but you just have so many things that I have to ask about, because I'm like, West End or Broadway?
Ooh.
You're like, baby, give me both.
I mean, if I can have both, give them to me. They're so different. And as an American working over there, I mean, I felt like a queen. They take care of you in a way that is really beautiful. Also, I loved the people over there. Like, it was such a lovely, tight-knit community. We have such an amazing tight-knit community here in the Broadway community, theater community as well. I don't know. The West End is amazing, but Broadway.
Okay. I look at like Marisha Wallace's like
Mhm.
I'm like,
She's living. Babe is living.
baby is living. She's making West End look real yummy. I'm like, why did you go across the phone?
And real talk, there's not a lot of us over there. So
So you feel like a queen now.
Yeah.
Okay. How about this, Anastacia? Your favorite cast, for whatever reason. You have a lot of them. And there's also off-Broadway cast that you've been in, regional cast.
Yeah. That's wow.
Dig through the archives of your mind.
Every cast is special to me because there are people that I latch on to, their experiences that happen that make the time with those people amazing. I'll say this. One of my most favorite shows that I got to do was Hair on Broadway. That was another a freeing experience that cracked me open to like level up in storytelling and just in life in general.
Okay, so I'm not going to say too much, and I can't say too much because I wasn't there. Did anybody who I talked to in your cast of Hair, they all say the same thing? I already knew you were going to say Hair because everybody from Hair is like, Hair. We still have our group chat. Love them. I'm like, y'all got close. See, this is why my husband won't let me do that show. He said, I'm like, I don't know what brought y'all so close, but I was good.
It's such a great piece. It's one of those pieces that unfortunately is timeless. No matter the generation, we still talking about the same thing. So,
Listen.
but it's freeing. So I think that's one of the things too.
Out of all your shows that you've done, which one taught you the most? About life, about yourself, about the business?
Yeah. About the business, my God. Wow. I would have to say when I played Celie at the Muni, that was kind of like.
Wasn't that a short process or no?
It was 12 days.
12 days, and it taught you the most.
It taught me the most because it was such a big, yummy role. And it's the biggest house I've ever played to. I think it's 11,000 seats. It's outside. You're dealing with weather conditions. And you have a week to put up a show, to learn it, to get off book. You show up. You want to show up off book, at least off music. And then you put it up really fast. But it reminded me of like doing theater in high school and college. And it also reminded me that like I'm here to serve one purpose, to tell this story. Listen. And I get to tell it under these stars.
Oh my God. What do they do if it rains?
They cancel the show.
Oh.
And I think we canceled one show.
Oh.
Yeah.
You still get paid?
Mm-hmm.
Cancel that. I'll be out there with my umbrella. I'll be like,
but also the Muni, like speaking of like the business side, the artistic director there, Mike, and then the president, Kwame, they both took me in and really showed me some things and taught me some things, but they also take care of you at the Muni. Like they treat you like you know your worth. And that they know your worth. Yeah. So I think working there, I was like, oh, okay. This is how I'm going to live life in the business, especially on the business side from now on.
Mm-hmm. Has there ever been a time, usually I like to be a little bit more cohesive about this, but I just have so many, I'm like, you just have so much experience. And I'm like, this is my chance to learn from you, like literally right now. So let me get these questions. Listen. Like, has there ever been a time where you had to advocate for yourself backstage of any show, any theater, and it was like kind of you were nervous to do that, but you did it?
Yeah. When I was in Waitress, I had to advocate with a stage manager, and that was a very intense sessions. And he has since transitioned on, and we we got through that together, he and I, and we remained close and emailed. And, you know, he taught me a lot in that experience. And I learned a lot about myself, and how I won't allow certain things to happen, no matter who it is.
Because for Waitress, they had you doing a lot of things over there. I feel like you did the tour, you did the live show, you did the Broadway, you did multiple roles. Like how long were you a part of that family, and how, like, overall, what was your experience there?
Yeah, I joined Waitress in, I think, the fall of 2016, and I stayed until 2019, early spring, maybe January. I took, I think, 2 leave of absences. So it was lovely because they allowed me to do that, to go do work elsewhere. And that was a revolving door of people, but a really tight knit family. Like, we all still keep in touch. It was an amazing experience. I came in, I replaced Charity Dawson, who's one of my dearest, and Honey as Nurse Norma, and she replaced Kiala as Becky. And then we did that, and I also covered Becky.
Yeah.
And then I went on the tour for honestly, it was only like 2 weeks because they needed an emergency. I went out there to play Becky for 2 weeks, which was fun. Yeah, it was a blast. And then coming back after the pandemic, the show came back, and I went back as Nurse Norma, and then we shot the live action during that time. So it's one of those experiences where you're doing this, and you're like, you don't know where it's going to take you, but it takes you to all these amazing places. So I'm grateful for that one.
Are you good at saying no to things?
Yes.
When did you get good at that?
I think that when I was 19. Yeah, because I'm going to tell you, when I joined Hairspray, like I said, I was a swing for 6 months, and I knew that one of the Dynamites was leaving. And so I sent an email. I didn't have an agent at the time. And I said, hey, I'm going to leave the tour unless y'all give me this role. And I had more tact than that in the email, but I was like, I'm going to leave, because I was like, I know I can go get a job somewhere else. And so, they, at the time, the MD on Broadway, Lon Hoyt, he came out, he sang me, and he was like, okay, you got the role. And Gabrielle Reed came and replaced me as the swing on the tour. And we had auditioned together initially, but Gabrielle came in and replaced me as a swing, and I moved up to the Dynamite. But it was in that moment, because I've always had this thing where I said, even if I don't get a job in my craft, in my career, I can always go work at a grocery store. So I'm just like, I'm hungry. I'm going to do the work. And I think I got a little bit of talent up my sleeve. So, let's work together. Let's play.
Have you ever had enough space in between your gigs, your performance gigs, where you did have to get a different type of job? Or how should I say this? Like, okay, basically, I just discovered voiceover yesterday. I'm like, why did no one tell me about this in college? Why are they telling go get a job in the restaurant? Like, was there ever a time where you discovered a different part when you had a break? I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, there's this company called Soy for Haskin, and it would only hire, it was owned by and run by a couple that used to be dancers, I think, at the New York City Ballet. I might have that wrong, but it's like a high-end sample sale, and they only hire artists, performers, because you're standing on your feet all day. But they also wanted to make sure artists are taken care of. And so a lot of people that I met in the industry, we met there. They'd feed you breakfast and a lunch, and you could take something home, and you'd work all day. And it was amazing. It was an amazing time. And also babysitting. I would babysit for friends. I would teach every now and then. And then sometimes I would just rest.
Okay, I'm sorry. We got to talk about Boop. I have so many questions, but tell me about how Boop is going, because I was not expecting, just not expecting. I thought it was going to be like cute. And
Mhm.
it is, but it's way more than that.
Yeah.
Your part
Yeah.
specifically brings a lot of
Mhm.
depth. I was sitting there thinking, why am I crying? Why am I crying? But tell me how it's going for you.
It's, this has been an amazing ride. We did a production outside of New York in Chicago in the winter, fall of, what was that? 2023. I'm like, what year is it? At the CIBC Theater where it premiered, and it was received very well. People loved it. And, Boop is that show where it doesn't have an agenda, but I think it does in a way, and that's love, right? It's love, it's community, it's loving yourself enough to love other people, extend that out. Betty comes and she reminds everyone that she meets as she's on her own journey to get back in love with yourself and the things that you want to do for yourself. The character that I play, Carol Evans, she's an activist. She's a campaign manager and trying to run this campaign for this man named Raymond who's running for mayor. And she believes in the she believes in the work that she does, and she believes in this city and making it a better place. And Betty comes and reminds her that, like, hey, you could actually do this. You could actually be the person. And so
Instead of Raymond,
right.
we don't care about him. I was like, you need to sit down. Sorry, keep going.
But I find it interesting too, to be in two shows back to back that are in full alignment with what's happening in our political season. Right now we have a mayoral race coming up soon, and a lot of us want the mayor that we have in office, Eric Adams, out because he hasn't done enough for the city of New York. And I feel like a lot of people can relate when they see Boop. They're like, oh, we living through this. And so,
we want him out.
We want him out. I am so vocal about that because, he's a mess. But Boop is that musical. It gives you that Broadway, traditional Broadway heart and vibe. It makes you cry. It brings you joy, and that's what we need right now. We need to be lifted up. We need to be encouraged. We need to take care of one another, and we need to feel a little love and joy.
Yeah, we do. I think Suffs was very like, this is going to be very on the nose about what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like in a very beautiful way. And Boop is also a reflection, but it's unassuming. Like,
yeah.
You're going to have a good time.
Yeah. And you can take away so much from it too.
You can take away so much. You can take away so much. Okay. What would you tell 8-year-old you of where you are today?
Uh-huh.
Well, before you answer that, was she this confident? Did she believe in herself?
I think in certain aspects, yes, and in many, no. Mm-mm.
What would you tell her? What would you tell them?
I would say it's all going to work out and be okay. Just keep being you. Keep being you. Don't change. Don't change your weird and quirky and different self. Be that. Evolve, but don't lose that. Yeah.
And before I let you go, is there anything else on your heart that we didn't talk about, or something that means something to you that we didn't cover, or a moment that changed you, or is there anything else on your mind or your heart?
To any actor out there, to any artist out there that feels blocked, that is struggling to create, try to remember why you wanted to be a creator, why you wanted to be an artist. I always say that we are the creation and the creator. We are put here to create, to exist, to be, to breathe life into. And so if you're creating art for others, you'll probably never get it to the point that you want it to be. But if you're creating art just for yourself, and if you're creating art to heal and to just lay it out there flat-footed, then I think you'll make it. Even if only one person likes it. My dog just co-signed. She said, yeah.
If you're creating art for others, you're never gonna get it to where what you want it to be. You gotta make it for you.
Yeah, because we all get these ideas. I recently read this book called, I think it's called Big Magic. And it's
By Elizabeth Gilbert.
yes. And it really helped me because I think I was telling you right before we started, I started a little like Instagram thing during the pandemic called Hello Beautiful Spirits. And it was kind of like my calling card to myself during 2020 to get me out of bed. It became the affirmation, but then it became this thing where I was like, I have these things that come into my mind, and I think information should be free. So if you find something that works for you, I think you're supposed to share it with everyone. And so one thing she says in that book, I'll get back to that. One thing she says in that book is that we all have these ideas that come through our subconscious, our superconscious, our conscious. And we either hold on to them and give birth, or they go to another energy. They go to another vessel, because the idea, it's energy, it's flowing. So it's going to get out there, but it might not come through you if you aren't ready to give birth to it. And so with Hello Beautiful Spirits, I've been sitting on it. I was like, what do I want this to be? Do I want it to be an educational program? Yes, one day. Do I want it to be a book? Do I want it to be? And I was like, you know what? I did a podcast in 2020 with my brothers and myself called Them Three. And I was like, make it a podcast and just talk. And whoever it reaches, it reaches. It may not be for everybody. It may be for one person that needs to hear whatever you have to say in that moment, but get it out there. So yeah, look for that in May of this year on all the platforms. Oh my God, my body.
You don't let that fall. Oh my goodness. Incredible. You truly are. Wait, also what you were just saying, there's a line about that in MJ. Michael was like, if I don't do it, God's going to give the idea to Prince.
Big facts. Yes.
It'd be like that. You're like, well, I thought of that first. And you see somebody else doing it. It's like, well, you weren't doing anything with the idea. So
yeah,
it's a living, breathing, like it'll go somewhere.
Yeah.
Whatever vessel will do something with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I think I'm gonna let you fly off into the world, because I'm like, whew, do we need a 2-hour special? There's gonna be a boop tonight. Why not? She's still on the Zoom.
Just walking around the city with you on my phone.
Right. You're absolutely incredible and inspirational. And I am so grateful that you made time for this, that you came over here, shared a few words with me, and with us. This will be going on the podcast proper. And I am grateful for you. You are a wealth of knowledge, and you're young. Like, you're young. You're young.
Thank you.
I'm like, how's she doing all this? And you are not, your whole life, you have a whole life in front of you still. In fact, I do have one last question. Mm-hmm. Is there anything that you haven't done yet? Because you've done so much that we didn't even talk about. Like, you're all choreographed. Is there anything that you haven't done yet that you're like, man, I gotta do that?
Yeah, there are a few things on the new dreams list. I want to direct a play. I want to a play. Yeah.
There's no music in those.
There can be a little music, woven in and out.
We just talk.
But I want to direct a play. I'm writing a book right now that is about some fun, interesting things.
That's how you go with me.
I'll say this. It's about a Black woman who has ADHD and is approaching 40.
Great.
Everybody
ends that way. Great.
Right, pretty much, right. I feel like it's something we don't talk about enough. Yeah, I want to put out an album. I want to be a mother. Look, that's art. So yeah, there's some things on the list that I think I'll get to in this lifetime.
Amen to that. All right. Well, God, Do you hear her?
I know that's right. Listen.
Listen, and he is listening.
Yes, he is.
He is. And he's using you already. And so I'm so excited to see what else is in store. So thank you. Enjoy
Thank you. Thank you for having me. You're amazing. Thank you.
You are. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness.
What?
Follow Anastacia. I'm late. Okay. Well,
I'm obsessed. This is amazing.
I'm late. So see her at the Broadhurst. Roof is playing. Follow her at Anastacia. How do you say it?
Anastacia McCleskey.com.
McCleskey.com. I mean, no, how do you say your handle?
Oh, Anastacia MCC Official.
MCC Official. Okay, I was like, official? No. Okay, that's all, folks. Bye.